ruin a friendship. So I think in a physical sense, no, keep them don't keep them close. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Shonda Ali, and today we got a little table talk going on. I got my daughter over here. Say hi, Zuri. Hello. She's an entrepreneur and a student, and you know, I had a thought today. My thought was about just progress and success and your circle, who you have around you, who you're keeping around you. And I thought about this saying, you know, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. I know you've heard that before. You've had to have heard that before. So I didn't really agree with that. I'm not really agreeing with keeping your enemies close. I think the saying probably needs to be tweaked a little bit or explained a little bit better, because some people may take it as, take it as what it is, or literal, and it can be more of a mental thing. But my thing is, I don't like having people around me that suck my energy and that don't have the same mindset as myself as far as growth and as far as success. And if I throw something out there like, oh yeah, I want to make $1 million in the next 2.5 years, if I have people around me that are like, yeah, how you gonna do that? You gotta pay your mortgage, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, is somebody in my head that will fall into that enemy, you know, category. That doesn't mean they're a bad person, but it means that they are not giving me what I need to feel like I can do this. And so, you know, now I'm thinking about it, enemy can mean anything to anyone. And my daughter had a good point, and we were talking about it. She was talking about, what is it? Not enemy, but another word for enemy.
Oh, competitor.
A competitor. So that's a thing too. So, but, you know, and then we also thought about, you know, you can learn from your enemies, but I still don't feel too good about keeping my enemies close. And that saying does not lend to keep them close mentally. I don't want them in my head. I don't want them in my space. I don't want them anywhere in my cipher. So how can I take that saying and use that saying to benefit me? Not all sayings are going to benefit everyone. And that saying may not work for me. There might be another saying that's kind of like it, that'll work for me, that'll help me grow. But, you know, people take things differently. They take it literal, or they take it in a way that it will work for them. I just haven't taken that saying in a way that it works for me, keeping my enemies close. I'm very guarded on my energy, and my circle is very tight. And when there's somebody that's taking energy from me and that's not, you know, bringing positivity and light to my situation and helping me grow, I don't really keep them around. I won't keep them around me. Back in the day, probably would. And I'd be exhausted. Be hanging out with them, be exhausted when I come back home. I don't have that time to be exhausted anymore. So, you know, there's a different way that you can perceive, or a different way that you can translate that in your own head. And you had a good translation, Zuri, for that, you know, because your mindset right now is in a space of growth, in a space of, you know, being an entrepreneur. So what's your take on that, keeping your enemies close?
My take on it is, as we were talking about it earlier, my take on it is, for my personal life and my personal experiences, when it comes to keeping enemies close, when it comes to keeping friends close and enemies closer, I take it more of a religiously spiritual manner, meaning I pray for my enemies. That, to me, is the biggest thing to keep someone close, is when you're actually taking the time to devote the initiation of understanding that they are a child of the being that we believe in. So, I mean, if you don't believe in God, that's perfectly fine. You know, I do. But, and then you can also think about it in the manner of, you know, not believing in God too, or not just not putting the religious part in. Not that you're not that you're a non-believer, but you could think of it as like survival mode in life. So a lot of people, you know, whether you're in business or whether you're just kind of hustling, doing your thing in life, I feel that you're supposed to remember who you are, remember those around you, and remember what those have done that are around you. And that can even mean physical things they've done. That can mean things they've said. That can mean a lot of different things. So in my life, what I like to do is I like to make sure that I understand why those people were enemies, and just understand the aura of what they carried, and use it not against them, but use it against any negative forces that it can come with. So I use it in a powerful, positive light. Mm-hmm. So if someone was against, if I was to say like, hey, you know, I want to make $1 million, you know, and someone was like, well, how you gonna do that? You know what I mean? First of all, you don't even have, not saying this is my life, but saying one of you guys may have a conversation with someone and they may not understand your mindset at the time. A lot of times your enemies do have the same foundation of thinking that you do, meaning they do mean well, but they're opposed to what you have going on. They're opposed to what you're affiliated with. They're opposed to everything that you're doing, because it doesn't, some people, sometimes enemies are enemies because they don't have understanding of who you are too.
Right.
If you have more of an understanding of a person, you actually are taking the time to know that person, to realize who they are, and then you take understanding to them. That's friendship. That's literally friendship. That's what you do. But in a spiritual sense, and maybe a religious sense, if you are religious, keep them close in a manner where you understand who the opposing team is. You understand how they would be against you. You understand why they're against you and what they're doing to be against you. And what you do is, like myself, I stay in survival mode. So in life, we have to, you know, remember that there's a lot of people who are against us, you know. Mm-hmm. And then earlier I was talking about street people, like, you know, when you hustling and doing what you do, just hustling in general. You don't have to be from the hood to really understand what I'm saying, but there's survival mode there, because yes, the hustle heroes, you got to understand that there's people who are against you. There's people who don't want you to have what you have. And so you have to remember, you know, who those people are, so you can watch out for that aura. Right. So that's why I say survival mode, because that can be in business, you know, and when it comes to business though, it's more professional. So it's really called a competitor at the end of the day. Right. So it's either you want to be with your competitor and start a branded partnership. That's something you can do, because at the end of the day, your competitor is probably on the same thinking of where you're thinking, because they probably maybe want to do the same thing of what you do, but they feel like they can do it better. They feel like they can do it more different, more unique. So if you can turn that negative aura of an enemy into a positive thing, no matter how you need to do it, I would say don't take it into a literal sense. It's more of a aura or a lifestyle of remembering who those people are. Being conscious and being woke. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you understand who those people are, and that's just staying woke, really. Right. So that's my 2 cents on it. I don't feel that.
I think that was more like 50 cents.
That's my $1 on it. You know, if y'all want to put y'all $1 in, cool. But that's how I look at it, because I'm looking at it from a perspective of survival, livelihood, understanding people, more of a psychology perspective of life.
Well, she's a psych major too.
That's how I look at it, because when you look at it like that, you have an understanding of the human race and how we are in society. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at it with understanding. You can't look at it like, you know, okay, I'm gonna pay attention to my enemies and keep them real close. You know, stay calling them and yada yada yada. No. That's not what that means. That just means that you are making sure you understand. Okay, they right there. What were they thinking? Cool. I'm gonna stay on my path. I'm gonna remember positive and negative around me, and you use it to your advantage. Whatever you want to do with it is what you want to do with it. But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So it's more than having an understanding. It's having an overstanding when it comes to your enemies and the people that don't see your vision. You have to have an overstanding of them, and so that you can stay ahead of them, and you also are aware of who you can tell your stuff to. You can't tell everybody. You cannot put all of your dreams and goals and aspirations into the universe. You cannot speak all that out into someone else's universe, right? You got to pay attention to who's in your circle, what type of people you have in your circle, and make sure you have people in your circle that are doing better than you. Because if you're the only one doing good, and if you're doing the best in your circle, who do you have to learn from? You have to have, every mentor needs a mentor, right? I'm a mentor. I have a mentor, in different areas of my life, So as an entrepreneur, I have a mentor rather. But in my career I'm a cybersecurity engineer, I have to learn from other people on how to be better at what I do. But, you just have to be very, very discerning on who is in your circle, and you can't go for the okie doke. You have to, be conscious, be aware. And that's basically really what that saying really means to me. I had to dissect it a little bit and listen to, Zuri a little bit on her position on that. And it's keep your friends close because they don't mean any harm, but keep your enemies closer. But you keep them closer mentally, and you understand and have an overstanding of what their stand is in your life. So if you have an overstanding of what their stand is in your life, you're good.
On another thing too, don't talk about your power moves to people who don't understand the moves you're making, because that can sound like bragging, which creates an enemy.
Right. Jealousy, envy, all of that. You want things, you want to grow, you want that money, you want to get that bag, you want that house, you want that car. There's no reason to share it with everybody. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to share it with everybody, just to have a conversation. So if you want these things, you have goals, you set goals, you get, you start writing down stuff, and you start figuring out your strategy to get there, So this was a really good topic, and a lot of people need to really, think about who they have in their circle and who they have around them. And that's why I'm so excited that we started a community called Zimbiz Community. So check the link out down below. Check us out. Join the community. And it's all about growth. It's all about finding your why and doing your thing and being successful. So I hope you enjoyed this kitchen talk. Hopefully we'll come back with some more kitchen talk. But I thank you so much for liking, commenting below, and subscribing. Appreciate it. Again, I'm Shonda Ali, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day and rest of your week. Talk to you soon.